Good evening, everybody. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer? Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace, Lord God, as we make decisions that will affect our staff, employees, and residences of Mount Healthy, and continue to remind us that what we do and what we hear today, all that we accomplish is for the pursuit of truth and for the greater glory of you and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your name. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone, to our May 16th council meeting. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Linda.
Here.
Mr. Parsons.
Here.
Mr. Redding.
Here.
Mrs. Dosa. Mr. George.
Here.
Mr. Young.
Here.
Mrs. Rissel. Here.
Okay,
Make a motion.
Ms. Dosa, wait a minute. Ms. Dosa has called and let us know that she will be a few minutes late. Do you wish to excuse her, and then we can put it into the meeting minutes that she arrived, or?
Yes.
That's normally the way we do it. So you want to make a motion to excuse Ms. Dosa?
Motion to excuse Mr.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Redding, seconded. Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. You have before you the minutes from the May 2nd meeting. Does anybody have any corrections? If nobody has any, I'd like to ask for a motion to adopt as printed then.
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes as printed.
A second that.
Mr. Young has made a motion to adopt. Mr. Parsons has seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion is carried. Now, on the back of the minutes, the last page, you have the minutes for the work session on May 2nd. We need to approve those also. Anybody have any corrections for that? If not, I would ask for a motion to adopt.
I make a motion to adopt the work session minutes.
Mr. Parson has made a motion to adopt. Ms. Rissel has seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. The minutes are approved. Yes, thank you. Correspondence. I do not have any correspondence to bring forth. Does anybody else have any? Other than we have on your desk a reminder from the Mount Healthy Police Department. Sergeant Nolte is retiring, and his party to say goodbye is May 20th at the Eagles Building on Kinney Avenue. Remember that if you can. Ms. Dosa? I'd like to make a comment that Ms. Dosa has arrived at 7:05, so it's in the minutes, please. Guest and special events. We have none, I assume, Scott. Public input. Anybody who would like to address council, this is a time that we would allow you to come up. We have one person signed in, Richard Strecker. I'll ask you to come up to the podium, please, and give us your name and address. I know it's on the paper here, but you have to do it for
My
me.
name is Richard Strecker, 6389 Creekside Way, Fairfield Township, Ohio 45011. I'm here, I want to say good evening to Mayor Wolf, City Manager Bauer, President Bittner and all the council here tonight again. This is just a follow-up on my proposal for the street sign, and I just wanted to thank you for the quick response. Mr. Bittner, I did not expect things to move forward that quickly that evening. I seriously thought that I was going to have to get 51% signatures Mount Healthy, something along that line. So thank you very much for that quick response. I was going to brag about becoming a permanent resident of Mount Healthy, and I was talking to Seth downstairs, and he said that Arlington is in Springfield Township.
Yeah.
We bought 2 plots back in March the 5th, and that was a week later when I met Angelo. Sheila Rutz is the agent for Arlington that's helped me out, and she's the one who told me about A&A. Just a couple funny stories, if you don't mind. I was in there talking to Angelo, and he's actually bashful about his age. I says, I read your article, you're 97. He said, no, I'm 90. He said, article wrong, they make mistake. And I was shocked. He walked away and went back in the kitchen.
That's
And
Angela.
Tracy was working, and she was laughing, and she says, I know exactly how old he is because I had to pick up his prescriptions, and he was born in 26, so he's 97. And the other funny story was, again, me, Tracy, and Angelo were in the restaurant, and he's coming out of the kitchen in the dining room, and Tracy said, oh my God, she goes, Jerry Springer died. He's 79. And Angelo said, who? He said, Jerry Springer died, 79. He said, have a good trip. Kept walking into the dining room. I thought that was a hoot, I tell you what. Okay, Mayor, you got some very interesting people in this town.
Yeah.
Shortly thereafter, I met Dennis Ritchie and Denny Arcaro. And family of 17. Did you guys know that? He's the youngest. He's 71. I'm going to be 70. The age group was 30 years. His oldest brother would have been 101. There's 6 of them left. 17 Caros in Mount Healthy. And I'm still shaking my head over that one. So I'm not making a proposal, but you better keep a boulevard open for the yeah, he's the youngest. And let's see. And then I just want to offer my services if anything I can do. I'd like to leave my information with, is Kathy Schmidt? Kathy, you're not getting along with the mayor and the president there, no name? I'd like to leave my information with you, and if there's anything that you think I could do to help, I'm more than happy to.
We appreciate that.
And just in closing, I'd like to invite you all to the Schützenfest. They moved it up. It used to be the 3rd weekend in July every year. They did research on the heat and the rain, moved it to Father's Day in June. So anybody that's father gets it free. I think the women should complain about that. And my dad was actually king in '57. I grew up out there in Colping. They came, parents immigrated in '52 from Stuttgart. I was born here in '53. And '57 was a good year for my parents. They bought the first house in College Hill on Tahiti Drive off of North Bend by Daly. And I went to St. Vivian's all 8 years, Roger Bacon 2 years, and finished up at Coleraine. And I'm not a stranger to Mount Healthy. Went to your drive-in hundreds of times when we were teenagers, you know, one rumble, but that goes with drinking, right? And I think you had a bowling alley too here.
Yeah, we did.
Is it still?
Zankers.
Sanger
Yeah.
Lanes.
No,
Yeah.
okay, my uncle bowled there in Burgard's, and then just in and out and through your town my whole life, actually. So, not a stranger.
Good.
So anyway, that's all I have. I just, and if you guys do come out to Schutz Fest, I try to get a good look at everybody, but if you see me, just say hi, and I'll take you inside and show you my dad's medal and buy you a beer or something.
All right.
It's just an excuse to have another beer, right? The folklore for the Schutz Fest, the farmers were out in the field, and the baby was in the basket, and eagle came down and picked up the basket with the baby, and the farmer shot the eagle, killed it, and the townspeople had a Schutz Fest for him, and they made him the king. But like I said, it's just an excuse to drink beer, right? So from my heart, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you taking an interest in our citizens.
Welcome. Hope to see you at A&A too.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Mr. Strecker, there was, I don't recall knowing this family had 17 children. I don't know why I didn't, but I knew many, many families that I went to school with at Assumption that had 10 to 14 kids. And it's just, there was large families back in the 50s and 60s. Yeah.
I'm still in shock when he told me that. The only biggest family I ever known was Pam Barge in North College Hill. I worked with her at the Hollywood Theater in the late 70s, yeah. They had 12, you know. Well, when Denny told me 17.
Yes. You have 4 now, they consider that a large family.
Please?
If you have 4 children now, they consider that a large family.
3 or 4, yeah. Yep. Okay,
All right,
Thank
thank you. sir.
you.
Yes. Thank you.
I don't really know how to address the board. My name's Robert Jones. My address is 7131 Clover Nook Avenue. I graduated Mount Healthy High School back in '81, and I do know the family that he was talking about. Been here most of my life, but I didn't move back here until '06. And I have a house on Clover Nook, like I said, and I've been having a real severe problem with a backdoor neighbor. Their lot is overgrown. A couple years ago, I called Bill Knight. Took me over a year to call him back, and he told me that there were dead trees on my property and they had the wrong property or something. Anyway, I got 2 of the dead trees cut down. There's more dead trees on that lot. One fell down and hit my property on April 5th. And I just heard back from CHMA, who is the property owner, Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing District, today on that. Got a hold of their legal department. I don't know if they're gonna pay for that or not. But Bill Knight knew that that tree was dead 3 years ago, and he knew 2 years ago also when they took down the other 2. That property needs cleaned up. I have a fence up. There's poison oak growing through the fence from back there. There's brush. I have pictures if anybody'd like to see it. But my point is, I live in a neighborhood. I live in a neighborhood that I grew up in, more or less. I didn't grow up right here in Mount Healthy proper, but I was in Mount Healthy. And I have a jungle growing behind my house. And CMHA, I understand it's city-owned property or county-owned property, but they need to be accountable like everybody else in our area. And I'm gonna need the board's help. I got an email back from Bill. I first reached out to him on April 5th, then April 6th, and all through April, never heard anything. Finally, I got a hold of Kathy, who was really nice. The next week, I called her back because I still hadn't heard anything, and Kathy forwarded me an email. So we're talking on the 8th of May before I heard anything back. And all that email is a work order to clean that property up, and nothing has happened. Now, up until this year, I've been going behind my fence and cleaning it up, but CMHA won't let me back there. So I need some help here, and I think the board is who I need to address to get the help. It's doing damage to my property, my fence, The tree broke my fence, broke my lighting, hit my pool, and still nothing's been done. And like I said, the first word I heard from them was today.
What's the address again of the property?
Their address is 7203 Bernard. It's a problem property. They have several things going on there.
Did you say CMHA owns it?
Yes.
7203.
If those trees are dead, they are responsible for them if they
I
fell.
realize that, but they didn't take one down, and now I don't know how I'm gonna prove it was dead other than to get Bill Knight to testify that I complained about it 3 years ago. They did take two down that were right on my fence line, dropping limbs into my yard, but they didn't take that one down. They decided to leave it. I have picture proof if anybody'd like to see it.
Yeah,
And I can show you the tree that hit the fence. It had logs this big around, and it broke into about 10 pieces and had no branches. It's been dead for over 10 years.
yeah. That's awful.
address one more time, sir?
My address is 7131 Clovernook Avenue. The address of the house that's causing my damage is 7203 Bernard. And right now, they have so much brush back there, and they won't let me go back and clean it up. It's gonna end up pushing the fence down. And like I say, I have poison oak growing through the fence, vines and everything. Nothing on my side, just growing right through the fence.
Yeah. I have similar problems with neighbors of mine with
But we have ordinances where people can't do that, and I know for a fact that we do.
So you just got the notification from Bill that he sent
I
him a
didn't
notice?
get that notification until, well, I didn't get it until last week, but
Should've had a
that email was dated on the 8th of May.
It should have had a timeline on it that says when they have to have it cleaned up by.
Let me look at it. Catherine's the one that sent it to me. I didn't think to bring my glasses with me. If I bring over my phone, can you look at it?
Yeah. What ends up happening, and it is very frustrating, it's frustrating for us as well.
That's what I got.
Oh. Just says CMHA work order. Okay.
Look at the note that Bill wrote on that too. And the last time I got hold of it, it took a year to pull it out.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder if,
I have it standing and I have it after Bill.
How many days usually give? 30, 60, 90? No, when Clovernook crosses the bridge.
yeah.
What it is.
But it looks to me like I'm gonna need more help than what I'm getting.
so what
to get
typically
something
happens
done.
is he gives a notice to the property owner that they need to correct the issue. It says what the issue is, says they need to correct the issue by a certain time, a certain date. And if they don't do that, that's when he can cite them, and then they set a court date, and then they go to court, and then it's up to the magistrate, what occurs at that point. I was hoping that you had a copy, that he had sent the notice that he gave him, but he did not. So that's a work order number from CMHA, so we don't know if he gave them a notice to resolve the issue or not.
That's why I'm here, to find out.
Yeah, so we don't know.
Get some help getting this thing going.
And we don't know with what we have right here, but we can definitely look into
Yeah,
that.
I'll talk with him and see where it stands.
I'd appreciate that,
Yeah.
thank you.
No problem.
That's all I have.
All right, thank
Thanks,
you,
sir.
Mr. Jones.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Anybody else who would like to address city council? Good evening.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I just basically came to say thank you for the blacktop and filling in the potholes finally. I think that's it. I have to work on something else for next meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sorry it took so long. Anybody else? Okay, then we're going to move on to public, or committees and commissions. Beautification, Ms. Lingo.
We had a meeting this evening regarding the putting up the pots and the flowers along Hamilton Avenue in the park. And we think we decided where they're going. So Saturday, Cordell and I are gonna go down to Land Tech, look at flowers. And once we get this all set up, I'll let you guys know if anybody would like to volunteer to help water, that would be great. So that's all we've got so far until we talk to Land Tech and get the flowers and so forth. That's it.
Anybody have any questions? Business Partnership and Alliance, Mr. Young.
Was unable to make the meeting yesterday because of work, but I know 4th of July, the Business Association will have the drinks up there on the 3rd, the Monday the 3rd at 4. And then the Ice Cream Social with Historic Society at 6. So there's some things going on before the fireworks. And then also Memorial Day parade coming up with the parade, so. I think that's all I have right now on business.
Okay.
Question for Paul.
Yes.
Paul, had they discussed the Christmas thing anymore, or?
I called Dwight, president, but I have not heard back from him yet. He was in a meeting yesterday and today, so I'm waiting for him to get back to find out what we're.
Okay.
So they met today at Fibonacci, the Christmas committee.
Oh,
if
okay.
That's what they're calling
Oh, they
themselves.
have a
I did
Christmas-
go and attended,
there
basically,
you go.
December 16th is the date, and they kind of threw out some ideas, so it has officially started, the planning of it, so.
Good.
And their plan is to basically meet directly after each business association meeting for a half hour or so. So the next one's June 12th, and that committee will hang out after and discuss Christmas.
Did you make the Business Association meeting?
I did not make that one. I made the Christmas, I made the fun one, so.
There you go.
Is there anything, so we talked a couple of times about that.
Mhm.
Did you want me to run down some of that stuff, or?
Some of the ideas we had for
Yes.
Christmas? Sure, yeah.
Okay, all right, okay, I will do that.
That's it, Mr. Young?
That's all on that.
Oh, on that one? Okay. Economic Development, Mr. Young.
I'm gonna hold off till next month's meeting. There's more information coming up, so.
Okay. Finance, Mr. Parsons.
No report tonight.
Okay. Library, Ms. Dosa.
Nothing new to report.
Parks Commission, Ms. Dosa.
Nothing new to report at this time.
Okay. Safety, Mr. Redding.
Nothing to report tonight, except that the police department's report is in your packets, so check that out.
It is a little different. Let me or Chief know if there's anything new you want added to it. He kind of simplified it a little bit. If you want more historical information, more comparisons, or just additional information, just let us know.
Okay, schools, Mr. George.
Not much. I just want to say that I am proud reading a lot of the happy stories that have been happening lately. So I encourage the community to check out the Mount Healthy City Schools website page, and there's a lot of cool and unique stories that have been happening lately at each school location. And then another thing, a week from tonight, actually this exact time, congratulations to the class of 2023 graduating seniors. They'll be graduating at Fifth Third Arena next Tuesday night. That's all I have.
Yeah. That's a big thing to happen in somebody's life.
Oh, yeah.
Question, when's the last day of school?
Not sure.
Don't know that offhand.
I don't know that offhand.
Sorry.
I know that the elementary schools are still going to be in session a couple days.
You want to turn right on red? Is that what you?
Yeah. Well, everybody else does, but I want to do it legally.
Yeah.
24th is the last day?
Next Wednesday.
24th, okay.
We don't have to go 20 in the school zone.
I do have a question for Cordell, too. Do we know, did Jasmine Ramsey get
get the $800 that they needed for the cheerleading squad?
That would be We
I'll
Thrive.
update that.
She was going to
Oh, you got that? Yes.
That's We
Yeah,
Thrive.
she would,
We Thrive
Okay.
meeting.
okay. Jamie's got it? Okay. Great, thank you.
Okay, Streets Department, Ms. Rissel. No report? Okay. Mayor's report, Mr. Wolf.
Yeah, just a couple things, so I'll start with that. So the We Thrive Committee met tonight, and they did approve to fund the $800 if the cheerleaders would agree to also perform at some of the We Thrive events, like the health fair, et cetera. Thought it was a good trade-off, and it would help them with publicity as well. So We Thrive sent an email to the coaches just this evening before the meeting. Haven't heard a reply back, but
I'm sure they'll be thrilled.
sure they'll be happy
Yeah.
with that,
Yeah.
right? That'll help them with recruiting anyway. So they did approve that. They also We Thrive is planning a health fair, so there will be more information coming. We had them in the past, and they were very successful, so they're bringing that back. Shoot, there was something else from that I wanted to update, and I forgot. I'm sure it'll come back. The farmer's market, the first one went off May 7th. It was very successful. They do have more produce coming in. And they've already had more produce than past years. They are going to have more. They just confirmed some more vendors. The next one is June 4th from 12 to 3 p.m. at Fibonacci. And then just the last thing, we do need to talk about the parade. As I mentioned, and I told Heidi already, I unfortunately will not be in town. I have the banner, so my thought is I was gonna bring it up here and just leave it up here. Yep.
So I approached Mr. Johnny Sturworth about
Oh,
that. And he's not sure, he may or may not be in town, so he was gonna let me know. Him
Okay.
or his brother's family, so
Great.
may be able to do it, so.
Well, I know his brother's family's gonna be with the Scouts.
Oh, okay, well
I helped
then,
them submit their entry.
there you go. Yeah, and he wasn't sure if they were gonna camp out or,
Yeah. Well, no, they're gonna march in the parade with the Scouts.
okay,
So I don't know if they can help the banner.
okay,
But either way, I'll bring the banner and I'll just put it up here.
okay.
So
And if not, well,
you
I'll
wrangle some people. That'd be
continue to
great.
look. Yep.
Great. I thought there was one more thing, and I forget. If I remember, I will bring it up under new business.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Any questions for the mayor? City Manager's report, Mr. Bauer.
So the open house that had been scheduled for this Thursday is canceled. The elementary school decided they had just had too much on the schedule this late in the year. So I think Keisha and Cordell, I think you were scheduled, so your Thursday schedule is now clear. So unfortunate, but the police and fire actually were still kind of able to participate with the school. They were at the career fair last week. If I recall, I think Chief said there was about 500 students that came through. They kind of had the equipment laid out like we normally would here, but it was at the school, and all the different classes got to come out and kind of take part in it, and the police and fire kind of just described what they did in a day kind of thing, so still got to kind of get our name out there. Police, we did make an offer, and the offer has been accepted, so Christina Naird will start June 5th. She's straight out of the academy, excited for that. We'll also have a new magistrate. Our current magistrate, Brian Goodyear, his last mayor's court will be this Thursday, and the next mayor's court will be Jacqueline Purcell. She'll be starting. An update on Compton Road. So they should be finishing sidewalk repair this week. Duke's going to be out there for probably the next week or two, fixing things, and then hopefully the following week, the final paving will be complete. So at least the way the schedule looks now, 3 weeks, Compton could be complete.
Nice.
So, then I had Christmas on here, already talked about that. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, sir. Questions?
I had a question, but it just slipped my mind.
I'll be here all night.
I'll bring it up in old
Ah.
business.
I got. Okay, Finance Director's report, Melanie Brandeis.
Just a couple of things. Recently, we had a well, he wasn't a resident, but pavers. He reached out and wanted to get some pavers for the Veterans Memorial. And we didn't know the process because Greg handled all that. So Kathy reached out to Jan Crank, and she got the process going. But they did shut down their bank account and turned all the money over to us. So we now have those funds, so they are no longer. But we are going to continue the paver project and continue, doing it through the city now rather than the Veterans Memorial. So that's in our bank now. Packets, where are we in? April month end, we're in there. They looked a little different because I printed them out from Excel version instead of the SSI version. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Melanie. Questions? Okay, on to ordinances and resolutions. We have no second readings on ordinances or resolutions, but we do have some new ones. And the first ordinance, or first resolution, 23-1206, a resolution adopting a tax budget for 2024. Melanie, is that for you?
Yes, this is our annual tax budget. We do this every year, same time. And we duplicate our 2023 budget, and we look and try to determine where we're going to be at the end of 2024. So we just duplicate and we increase the salaries. This year we did do a salary increase. I think it was 4%, wasn't it, Scott? It's 4%, and the other ones were 2.5.
Yep.
So we did a little more in the police department with the changes there. But everything else just duplicates 2023 and moves into 2024. And this can be the first reading. It's not due to the county until July 20th, so we've got plenty of time.
And we have to have a public hearing on it, right?
Yes, so next, our June meeting will be a public hearing before the June meeting.
Questions, council? This is one that we do every year.
Yeah.
Keep the county happy. You want to do the first reading, council?
Yep.
Yes.
Great. Okay. First reading on, which is today? 15th? 16th. Okay. We have a second resolution, resolution number 23-1207. Let's see if I can get through this one. A resolution authorizing the Mount Healthy City Manager to sign and accept a memorandum of understanding between the City of Mount Healthy and the Fraternal Order of Police, Ohio Labor Council regarding changes to the current collective bargaining agreement covering full-time police officers and sergeants. Once again, it's 23-1207.
So Peggy, have you done a police contract MOU? I can't remember if you were on when we did the last one. Okay, so this is sort of contract, not formal contract negotiations. A typical union contract's 3 years, and you'll have a big open up where you'll have negotiate every article that's in the contract. This is just a change to the current contract is what I'm asking to be approved. So it'll be kind of weird because probably in another couple months, I might have the next contract for you. But what sort of instigated this is just all the changes in the market over the past 3 years. It feels appropriate that we should give the police something of a cost increase early. Many other departments have already renegotiated their contracts. North College Hill, for instance, let's see, I've got this little helper thing that's got all the numbers on here. Currently, we top out at about 72,000. North College Hill is already renegotiated, and they top out at 80,000. So there's a lot of departments that surround us that the pay scale is far more enticing for police officers. So this is basically just an effort to try to give the officers something now to encourage them to stay with the department. And if you look further down on this page, in 2024, we have kind of some numbers that we've put out there to start with that are much more in line with our surrounding agencies, with Colerain, Springfield Township, and NCH. So basically this, and you're not voting on this, the actual MOU is just the initial changes, which is basically 3% to some of the offers, and then a one-time bonus for the ones that wouldn't be included in this particular contract. And then we would begin negotiations for future increases later this year. Again, I think it's just basically, we rationalize it based on the increase in the inflation and other market factors. I think it makes sense. We can do it in 2 readings. I think that's about it.
You say we can do 2 readings?
Yep.
This one won't go into effect till July or something?
Right. Yeah, the way it reads is it'd start technically June 25th.
Okay.
You know, just the way the payrolls work, it's gonna be a half year that it is accounted for, and that would start on June 25th. Again, just the way the payrolls work out. And for the one-time bonuses, the sergeants, and it's weird, the patrol officers have 2 groups. The Group A, their rates are actually pretty good, pretty well in line, but still wanted to give them something just so no one felt left out if we did one of these increases. So that's what and those would occur within the first paycheck, as it's stated in here, within the first paycheck after July 1. And there's language in here that states that it's a one-time scale adjustment. That's kind of sort of help protect in future negotiations that, you know, they don't sort of cling to this new rate, new adjusted rate this year and then try to build on top of it. Just, it's a way for the city to be protected. Any questions?
There was talk about some changes to the hours. That wasn't agreed to, or is it-
Yeah, they're still waiting on their FOP rep.
that would be
to-
another
to put-
MOU later on?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Yeah, hopefully by the next meeting, we can have that one. If it was into July that we passed it, that'd be fine as well. I mean, there's time the chief would need to kind of, this is the whole going to 12 hours instead of 8 hours. Could significantly change, make life better for officers so they can have different weekends off. Because a lot of guys will have, say, a Tuesday and a Wednesday as their 2 days off, which, I don't know, I'd rather have Saturday and Sunday. But, so there's kind of a weird rotation, but that'll probably come in June or July. So. But yeah, changing to 12 hours and changing the pay rate, those are basically the 2 things that the union is asking for to help make them more competitive and enticing. A lot of other departments have gone to the 12 hours, and like I said, a lot of other departments have already renegotiated their pay scales, so it just makes us look further behind everyone else. So I think doing these 2 things will help keep more guys here.
It's still 2,080 hours, and overtime is it's not based on anything over 8 hours or anything like that, correct? So that'll be
For
the
the pay
for
increase
the-
or for the 12-hour?
the 12 hours shifts that you're talking
Yeah,
about.
and I think that's probably what's taken longer, is just making sure that, you know, you change the definition of a day from 8 hours to 12 hours. That can mess with overtime rates and stuff like that,
Right.
weird things. So that's what's still getting nailed down, but
Okay.
we'll make sure we take care of those issues, that
Okay.
it's not drastically increasing overtime or anything like that.
Questions, council?
So my only other question is this sheet here is.
That will not be, that's not part of the formal legislation, I apologize.
There you
Just,
go. Yes. It's informational.
just information.
Yeah.
I've got all the other departments and kind of tried to guess out, you know, how far out everyone would be into 2026, just as a comparison. Yeah.
Questions or comments, council? Do you want to do a first reading?
Yes.
Okay. First reading on Resolution 23-1207. And we have one more resolution. Resolution number 23-1208. A resolution authorizing the city manager to prepare and submit an application to participate in the transit infrastructure fund programs and to execute contracts as required.
So this is the Harrison Avenue, Compton to South Terminus, that we agreed on at the last, or 2 meetings ago, I guess it was. I think it's maybe the 3rd page. There's actually a quote that JMA, our city engineers, are saying that the project will cost at $728,000. So approving this legislation will sort of declare that this is the project that we want them to fill out an application for, and then that this is the contract amount. The one thing that's not in the resolution, and I don't recall how we did it in the past, do we do a motion to declare what the percentage match would be? That'd be the one thing that we would need to decide tonight as well. For the Compton Road project, that's the first and only sort of project we've done so far, that was 20%. JMA recommended 30, just to make it more likely to get accepted. The Compton Avenue, we could get away with that because it was directly on the bus line. Harrison, you know, I can't remember exactly what the requirements are, if it's a half mile or a quarter mile off of a bus line that a road is eligible. So Harrison is definitely eligible, but it's less likely to get picked because it's not directly on the bus line. So I think it makes sense to go to 30. So if we did 20%, that's 145,000 the city would be on the hook for, and if we did 30%, that's 218,000. We would also have to pay JMA's fee, and that's probably about 100,000. So you're looking at $70,000 difference between the two, whether 20 or 30%.
Well, our total cost would be $318,400, including JMA, right?
Right.
And then the only other question is, this is not something this is not part of SKIP, so we wouldn't get the zero interest. We
Yeah, we just
decided to go out.
Pay it out of pocket or take out a bond
Yep.
or, yeah.
I think we're, as far as our street fund,
I think, have we just been paying it out of the general? Or the payments for Compton Road?
Yes, yes.
I mean, we've been doing it out of the general right now, and we can move those expenses to the road fund. I mean, it's kind of,
oh, okay, so our road fund probably can't handle this at this time, right? Okay.
well, I mean, it could, but it would be zero at the end of the year.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So do you need a decision on this tonight?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I apologize, I meant to have it at the last meeting, but it's.
20 or 30%.
They technically, they want it by May 31st.
I don't
and
think
they've got a
20
hard
will cut
deadline
it.
of June 15th, so we wouldn't have a meeting by then either,
Yeah,
so
30 will.
unless we want to call a special
It'll
meeting.
help us land the contract better from, you put up only 20% matching funds, you go way down the list.
So again, 30%, that's what JMA recommended. I mean, it seems to make sense to me, just the fact that it's not directly on a bus line,
Yep.
but it's an extra $70,000, so.
Any comments, council, about the 20 or 30, or questions?
I'm not sure we want to go 30. If it's coming out of our pocket, rather than being 0% financed. I mean, I'd rather take the chance of going with 20, and if we don't get it, we don't get it. I don't think Harrison Avenue is the worst street in the city. And we're doing this just because we could have a chance to get some funds.
Sure.
Personally, I would just go for the 20 if we don't get it, and we'll wait and get it when we need it.
What does everybody else think? Bob's got a good angle there.
Yeah, you did.
There are other roads that are much worse that I think that,
So we'll
like you said, we were going after this simply because it's part of the sort of funding.
I kind of like Bob's idea.
I do too.
Yeah, and I can't imagine borrowing right now,
No,
so.
that's the way they are.
If we would get this, that would be, they're gonna determine these in the fall. I don't know if it'd start next year, or if it'd start in 25.
I would bet 25.
So we're
Yeah.
a couple years away from this. I mean, we got time to save the money from our fund, but, and if we go to borrow it, then I'm
Well, rates
think
might be
interest
lower
rates
by
would be
then.
down by some by then. So, you know, it's a toss-up.
How desperately do we need the money to fund the projects that are coming up next? The Madison Avenue and,
So that's part of SKIP, and typically we borrow that because there's zero interest, then we get
interest.
30 years to pay it off, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for, those ones are nice, especially just because it also includes the engineering costs. Just on the Harrison, it's probably gonna be about 100 grand. You can roll that into the 0% as well.
Right.
Where again, it's sort of the, you get hit double for, on these sort of projects. You gotta pay for the project and the design fees too,
Maybe
so.
we're better off not going sorta.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, Harrison's in, for skip funding, Harrison's in way too good a condition, I think.
Yeah, we wouldn't get the state money for that.
Yep.
What do you guys think? 20%?
20%.
20% down on this end?
Do you wanna
There
do
you
a
go.
motion? I mean, I don't know how official do we, because the 20% is not listed in the resolution. I don't know if it needs to be a formal motion, whatever you guys are comfortable with. I mean,
Let's see.
Well, we can do a formal motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we apply for the Harrison Avenue project discussed in resolution number 23-1208 with a city match of 20%.
Sounds good.
Okay?
I
Mr.
second that.
Parsons has made a motion, Mr. Redding has seconded. Do I need to do a voice, singular voice vote on that, or just a general?
no?
Just an aye,
Just an aye, but
an aye vote.
All those in favor of said motion, please signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Got it?
You can add that to your resolution. Oh, we did a first reading.
Nope. I make a motion to suspend the two reading rule on Resolution 23-1208.
I'll second it.
Mr. Redding has made a motion to suspend. Ms. Lingo seconded. Questions or comments? This is a rule to suspend. All those in favor, please signify by saying, oh, I'm sorry.
Voice.
Roll call.
Excuse me, roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
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 Mrs. Rissel.
Okay, by a vote of 7-0, the two reading rule has been suspended. Are there any other questions or comments before we move further along with this? Okay, then I would ask for a motion to adopt.
I make a motion to adopt resolution 23-1208.
08. Ms. Dosa has made a motion to adopt.
I'll second.
Mr. George has seconded. Roll call when you're ready.
Mrs. Lingo?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Mr. Redding?
Aye?
Mrs. Dosa? Aye. Mr. George?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mrs. Rissel.
Okay, by a vote of 7-0, Resolution 23-1208 is adopted. Then, that's all of the resolutions and ordinances. We move to old business. Mayor.
I actually do. I remember my old and new business. Old business, we talked about the grant. We won the grant for the wetlands. It was 8,000 and some, almost 8,200. So the first 5,000 of it did come in. Unfortunately, Aaron, I'm not sure if anybody's aware, he and his partner got into a motorcycle accident. So he's okay, but his partner's in pretty bad shape. So Alex, Kasich, and Renee, I don't know, I haven't met her. They're kind of taking the lead for now while Aaron's partner's healing. So, but they're going to run with it. So tonight at the We Thrive meeting, they're picking up the ball and they're going to get with Mel to get that money. So you will see more going on. If you haven't been back there yet, it's amazing what they have going on. Then I have something for new business, so I'll wait till
Okay.
then.
Just, can,
Yes.
so last weekend, they did do a lot of work down at the wetlands. Looks pretty good. Sorry, 2 weekends ago now. They did a lot of work down there. I was unable to join them this time, but it's starting to look really good, yeah. Thank you. So just wanted to thank that entire group for the work that they've done.
Yes, it's wonderful. Yeah, we need to make sure we don't let it get in this bad a shape again. It'd be nice. Any other old business?
Yeah, I wanted to ask the city manager, did we give the sergeant's test over the weekend?
We did, sorry, I should have mentioned that. We had three, all internal candidates successfully gave the assessment, and then the plan's Thursday to do internal interviews, and then hopefully decide. I don't know if we'll decide by the end of the week or early next week.
There's no physical or psychological testing on this one, since we know the candidates, it's just.
Right, yeah, we didn't do a written test like we would for patrol. We did do an assessment like we did for chief, where there was the chief of Lebanon and a couple other guys that will, they do like role-playing and things like that, so it's.
So we shouldn't have somebody by the end of the month, maybe?
Yeah, for sure.
Good, good. Another question, did we get the resolution filed with the Board of Elections for our levy?
Good to go. We are on the ballot.
Okay, other old business. New business.
I do have one piece of new business that I meant to give. Emmanuel Temple, I did bring this up before. Emmanuel Temple, right up here, does have a clinician now. They do have clinical psychologist to offer mental health services. And We Thrive has been helping, the We Thrive Committee's been helping them and Teakin Farm apply for a pretty substantial grant for mental health services, specifically geared towards our African-American community. It'll provide group therapy and licensed psychologists in the setting, in collaboration both with Emmanuel Temple and at We Thrive. So it'll be hired by both of them, and they will be taking place at different facilities. They made it to the second round of the approval process, which is really good news. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that they can get that. So that is another thing we've been working on. Looks like it might come through, so I'll keep you updated.
Wonderful, good.
Summer session.
Other new business.
Summer.
I don't believe we have voted to go on to summer session. I know I'm starting to forget things, but I don't think we've
I don't
done that
think
yet.
We have not.
We haven't, no.
No, I have the reminder right here to do it. Summer session. We always do it on the second, excuse me, the second or third Tuesday of every month through June, July, and August, correct? And how's everybody feel about that? Do you want to do that, or you want to stick to 2 council meetings? There are some summers we slide right through and don't have a second meeting, and there's some years we have emergency meetings.
Yeah. I think something needs to be passed.
But anyway, what's your thoughts on that, council? I'm for going to summer session, and I don't take vacation, so it don't matter.
It's worked in the past.
Sounds good to me. It's all I'm used to.
Yeah. Peggy? You don't care.
The first meeting in July would be 4th of July anyway, so that's not happening.
So it would start in June then, right? Next month?
Yep.
So we don't have one the first meeting, we'll have one the third.
The 20th of June, I believe.
Yes.
Third week in June.
I would ask then that if you want to go to summer session, we need to make a motion and have a second on the motion.
Okay, I make a motion to go to summer session, which is 1 meeting a month, which is the third Tuesday of every month.
June, July, and
July, and
August.
August.
June, July, and August.
Okay, Mr. Redding has made a motion to go to summer session. Do I have a second? Ms. Rissel? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Our next meeting will be June 20th.
Darn near the first day of summer.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Any other new business, council? Ms. Lingo?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Ms. Lingo has made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Ms. Rissel has seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.